Welcome everybody to a new episode of the Pondcast. My name is Draconis. Joining me today are my co-host Chase.
Hello everybody.
And Guren.
Hello.
And today we are going to tackle that amazing trailer that dropped last week. Starting off, what was your thoughts on this trailer when we saw it as a whole?
I mean, as a whole, it looked quite good. The textures and the graphics of everything I thought looked phenomenal. They definitely hid some Easter eggs here and there that I've managed to pick out and I've seen other people pick out. But I mean, overall, I think that trailer was amazing, especially when they revealed the little Lechonk and the Smoliv. Oh, perfect Pokemon.
I'm gonna have to agree with Chase here. Actually, it's not even just Chase. It's probably like the whole Pokemon community as a whole too. Like, that was a very insane trailer. Graphics are just looking like almost perfect. It's like really well done, and just the Pokemon in general, like Lechonk and Smoliv that Chase brought up. It's like, oh my god, Pokemon Company, you guys keeping these pun-like names and whatnot. Perfect. That would be like perfect. My god, they're keeping those things, and those are pretty nuts. Oh my god.
For me, I think this is the first time in quite a while that I'm legitimately torn as far as what version to take, because I haven't found anything to pull me in one direction or the other as far as Pokemon are concerned, because between Pawmi, Smoliv, and Lechonk, which for me, culturally speaking, is an absolute perfect name for a pig, because I'm Puerto Rican. So, Lechonk is very close to the name lechon, which is what we call pigs. And the fact that it's, we know it's Spain-based, I am just enthralled by this. Even the legendary Pokemon. I know people have been ragging about the fact that they look like motorcycles, and there's a lot of stuff going around right now where they're like, oh, that's like the one dumbest thing. I don't care. The designs on them look incredible. I can't even choose between Scarlet or Violet at this point. Personally, the whole video, I need more. I need more. I need my fix at this point.
Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job of like drip feeding us right now, because that was as long as that trailer is, I need more info, man.
You know what stood out the most to me about that trailer? 4-player co-op, the extent of which we don't actually know at this point. But I mean, if you can go exploring with your mates and do if they decide to bring back side quests and do side quests with your mates, that's definitely going to take the games to a whole new level.
Well, not only that, and we'll actually get into it, but it looks like it's 4-player co-op, but you don't have to be in the same field. You guys can scatter and go do different things, and then catch different Pokemon and trade them with each other while you're together. So it would make catching Pokemon a lot faster when you think about it. Because I can go off with, let's say, you two and my brother Jay, and the 4 of us can go in 4 different directions, catch 4 of the same Pokemon, and then trade them amongst each other, and it would make dex completion a lot faster. Not only that, discovering, and like you said, if they do more side quests, discovering more side quests so that everybody can share in them. There's so much that they just jammed in there that you're right, we need more, and I'm hoping that they'll do it at least a monthly drop from moving forward, so that we get a little bit of something every month. Not too much, but just enough to want us leaving more. Let's go through this trailer real quick and find any key points that we really seem to stick out at us. So when you open up the trailer, you've got the logo for whatever version of the game you're playing on the backpack of the player, and against the wall in their room you see a stamp of Applin, Drifloon, Hatena. The 3 of those are on a sticker form on the side, so you can pretty much call those guys in the game.
I'm happy to see Hatena and Applin return, because they were 2 of my favorites from Gen 8.
Yeah, and Hatena, actually, the evolved form, Hatterene, gets a move called Magic Powder, which replaces typing, which still leads into that whole typing is going to be a key factor of this generation. The ability Magic Powder turns your target into a psychic type, so something to keep in mind. There are only a handful of Pokemon that have these types of moves, and I'm hoping to see them all in this game. But the other thing that stands out to me in this particular moment of the game is the texturing. The shirts are textured. The skirt, because the character starts off as female, her skirt has a texture to it. There's a bit of a shine on the metal parts of the character, and even the leather patch looks like a leather patch. I do this I work with leather patches for a living, and it's got a really nice coloring to it. It looks exactly as you would see it on an actual item.
Yeah, no, they're definitely pushing the boundaries of what the Switch is capable of, I think. I think performance-wise, they'll push the Switch similar to how something like maybe Astral Chain pushed the Switch a bit. Definitely be on par with games like that. Because, I mean, if you think back to like the DS and 3DS era of Pokemon games, they were constantly pushing the consoles to their max. I mean, you look at when Sun and Moon dropped, double battles used to lag the console out. That could also be chalked down to an optimization issue. But I don't know, I like to think they're trying to push themselves more and more in what the Switch is capable of.
I think they're taking a step in the right direction, because even then, this goes back to the whole like co-op system, though, from my opinion as well. I think the closest thing we ever had to like players like in the together in a big open area like this was during Sword and Shield, right? Like when you have like online connectivity, you do see like other people that are like in the wild area, right? Granted, like their actions are probably lagged out a little bit or like very long delayed, and then you can talk to them and they give you items and stuff. It's like now they're like doing this whole entire like co-op thing where like you guys do things that you're gonna be doing, like, you know, exploring the region, whatnot, the trading, actually meeting up, and I'm really kind of excited to see how they're going about this system, and I definitely want to know more about it. And it does seem to push like more of like that technical hardware that they have to deal with using the Switch in general. I mean, granted, it's also part internet issues as well, like depending like on the servers and whatnot, but I think being able to like do something like that with the system, the Switch system, I think it's definitely like a good or big step in the right direction.
So the next scene that I'm looking at is when the player character is running past the Pokemon Center area out in the field. There's a lot of depth of field filters that are happening. You can see the further out the image, the more blurrier it gets. The more up close you have much more detail showing. The different tree types that are here. You've got palm trees. You've got something that looks like maples. Even the shading, if you look down at the shading, the palms of the palm trees are actually gapped, and you see that reflected in the shade itself. I think they really are trying to push the capabilities of the Switch, or at least the capabilities of what we know as a traditional Pokemon game, further and further out to really show, hey, this is the direction we're going.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Also, you mentioned the center things. I love how they're designed. I think they look very cool, especially with like the LCD screens where the banners are just rotating around. I think that's a nice touch. It really makes it feel like something that you'd actually see in real life. There are definitely places where you can see things like that, and I think it's very cool. Not to mention they also look like petrol station or rest stop. That'll lead into a theory I have, but that was actually spotted by Birdkeeper Toby. But maybe we can talk about that when we get to a certain point of this.
I think it's pretty good, and like any other trailer that would come out before the game's final release, it's not final gameplay footage either, right? So like imagine like if this is how it looks now just in the trailer, then the game will probably look like even more spectacular than it already does on release. I mean, everything just looks great. Like compared to Sword and Shield, like I think whatever they're doing it right, I think.
The next part I'm going to focus on is the scene just before the titles come up, where they show a shot of the landscape, and you've got the ocean, you've got a mountain in the background with a waterfall, you've got lots of plateaus with some trees spread here and there. There's a little stone hedge in the lower corner over here. You can see some kind of a lighthouse tower, which you saw in the original footage, as well as what looks like a little seaside area. You definitely start feeling the scope of how large this game can be, because I think back to how Breath of the Wild was, and it was a very similar feel to this, where you think, that's not that far, until you're actually hoofing it, and then you realize, wow, it really is far. I'm seeing a lot of the same elements in this. Even the fact that you can see some of the texturings on the rock walls that are a little closer, I do really appreciate the hard work that it looks like they're doing into this.
I would definitely have to say, yeah, it does seem to show like whatever they're doing is paying off. I don't know what else to say. My vocabulary seems a little bit bad here, but like everything is really starting to look great. Like just getting the feel for this now, just looking at it is like, I need to explore this place. I need to explore this region like right now. Like I'm probably gonna have like a Pokemon Legends experience where like, oh yeah, it's kind of open world, right? I'm probably gonna be like not too big on the idea so far, and then like as soon as I get into game, it's like, oh my god, there's a Pokemon here. I gotta go catch it. Oh god, there's another Pokemon here. I need to go catch that. You know, like I'm probably gonna have that exact same feeling like I did in Legends Arceus. Like I'm just gonna be absorbed into like everything that's in this world, in this open world kind of setting as well.
In my opinion, they didn't spare any expense. I mean, they went all out, and you know, I think for the longest time people have been complaining that Game Freak were getting lazy, complacent, etc. But you know, after seeing the trailer, I think it's instilled a lot of confidence in the people who started losing confidence in the franchise as a whole. But you know what, I reckon this is the game that's going to bring in a lot more new players, maybe get some of the old players to join the bandwagon again. But you know what, overall I think this is the Pokemon game that people have been wanting since basically the Switch got released.
I would have to agree. This is going to be the first Pokemon game where we're going to have two separate professors depending on which version of the game you're getting. And recently I also watched the anime, which kind of ties a little bit together here. The last episode, and I'm going to tell you right now, spoilers ahead. I'll timestamp when we stop talking about the last episode if you haven't watched it yet. Basically involves Dialga and Palkia opening up portals to parallel worlds. It's a narrative that Game Freak has been pushing since Delta episode and has been consistently hammering in that there are effectively parallel worlds that the games are taking place in. And this kind of brings that really home when you've got two separate professors for each of the different games. And I think this is a really wild idea, but I also do love this idea because it gives the potential for a slightly different narrative to be played, and it makes looking at both options of both games more appealing to purchase both of them than just one copy. But what are you guys' thoughts about them introducing two professors?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you just said. You know, I do believe that these games are going to be vastly different from each other, well, when compared to other Pokemon games. And my theory is, and it's probably sort of pulling at straws and a very out there theory, but I think, for example, Scarlet, that professor's, because she looks like she's obsessed with like cavemen and all those old things, so I believe they're going to look at it from that she's like a paleontologist, and the whole thing is trying to dig up the past, maybe reviving that legendary as you would a fossil, and basically that would then tie into the past motif. And then for Violet, obviously that professor's more into technological advancements and that, and takes inspiration from what was the original legendary and creates his own version of it, or someone creates their own version of it. So I think particular elements are going to differ quite a lot, but they're still going to follow the same narrative, if that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be worth picking up both games, because I feel like now you're gonna miss out on quite a lot if you only choose either Scarlet or Violet.
First thing I want to say is like, who let such good-looking people into the game? Like, damn. Like, I think it's been pointed out a lot, but like, yeah, the professors look good. Like, I'm about to like pass out from how good looking they both are, you know, like kind of thing. Like, I mean, come on, you can't tell me like when you first see like at least the Violet professor, you can't tell me you're not thinking of that Giga Chad meme. I mean, like, come on, like the hair, the swept back hair, he looked like he got that chin, and then he has like the facial hair for it too. It's like, damn.
Can we talk about his fade though?
Yeah,
that man has a good barber.
That is epic level barber there. Although I will say this: the female professor gives me very much Tyrantrum vibes with the feather neck.
Oh yeah, I can agree.
Yeah,
I get very heavy Tyrantrum vibes.
Besides that, I think I can definitely see like where everybody's coming from though. Like depending on which game you get, right? Like the professors seem to be focusing on like kind of different things. In a sense where like, yeah, you look at the Scarlet Professor, or at least I'm assuming these professors are going to be exactly from like what game they're supposed to be in. I think there's confirmation too about which game they should be in each. I mean, it'd be really weird if they like pull off like a reverse thing where you have like Turo in Scarlet and you have Sada in Violet. Like I don't think they'll do that, but Yeah, like from what Chase was saying earlier, like it does seem like if you know, these professors, they seem to be, they have their own, like, you know, whatever their science project is, and I'm going to have to agree with that. You might be missing out if you don't grab both games. I mean, granted, you know, you're the type of person that already buys both games for Pokemon. I'm definitely one of those people, at least recently, and it just gives you more. It just makes it that much harder to choose, like, what game do you want to at least buy or play first. You know, it's just something like, you know, Pokemon, that's another kudos to you guys. Like, you're bringing in like 2 different professors for this, and I do have to agree, it kind of has to do with like the whole Delta episode thing and that Pokemon episode with like the whole space-time thing. Yeah, they're really going, they seem to be going pretty hard in the multiverse theory thing that they're doing, and I'm down for it. I mean, at this point, I'm expecting for Hoopa to make another appearance here in this region. I mean, I don't really have a theory for that or anything, but like, just like its whole shtick with like it, like from the movie and whatnot, I'm just expecting that guy, that little fiendish creature, to be back in here in this region. Yeah,
It'd be really cool. Bringing big old Hoopy back.
So the next part of this trailer that I want to talk about is something that I don't see anybody really discussing. Coming from a computer animating student background, one of the things that hit me really hard was the introduction of Nimona, I guess the rival character. The cutscene where she's talking to you, there's that cutscene has a lot of motion into it that I don't believe any other Pokemon game has brought to the table until now. She turns her head, her back kind of dips a little, her hair moves in a secondary motion, her neck, the head tilt, everything. Like, there's a lot of motion going on in this. A lot more body expression than I have ever seen in any Pokemon game. And that's on top of adding the updated graphics. The updated shirt textures and the texture on the glove, they no longer look like solid pieces of color. And I'm really impressed by this. And I don't know if you guys had caught that or not.
I mean, yeah, it definitely feels more organic. I mean, short of a voice actor, it looks like all the movements were actually done with mocap.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. It looks really smooth. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, I think when I first saw the trailer originally, I thought, oh, okay, look, they really upped their graphics. And like, I did also notice, if anything, at least, like, if it's not specifically Nimona, it's like just the way that your character moves in general. It actually looks a lot more smoother compared to like Sword and Shield, right? Like, your character, when he walks or when she walks or anything, like, it kind of still seems a little bit robotic in a sense. But then, like, I'm looking at this now, and it's like, yeah, it looks like the characters and your character seems like there's just so much more, how Chase puts it, like, organic fluidity to it, you know? Like, it's really good.
Well, you also get that when you see the 4-player characters running in different directions. And if you look at their ties are swaying. And if you've got long hair, you'll see the tips of the hair sway back and forth as well. So they really did do quite a bit, I think, in all honesty. There's something that I noticed that not a lot of people were talking about either. Do you guys remember the scene where the player character is running through fields and they're introducing the different Pokemon that are returning? Like, you see Choodle, then you see, what is it, Hexagonal, and it's just like, it's right after the trade scene, where there's the field full of Venonats and the player character is just running. There's a Venonat right in the forefront that is skipping.
Yeah.
The other 2 in the background are just meandering. This one is skipping, and he's skipping right to you. That is a level of personality that I have not seen in Pokemon. Even with Legends Arceus, they there was very limited with that, but this is the first time where they're very expressive, and I'm for it. I'm all for it.
Hey, man was just happy to get out and go to the park. How would you feel being cramped in a Pokeball?
Well, it looks like these are the wild ones.
Either way, that guy's had a lot of hop to his step, though, like, for sure.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Saying it would be cool if they did add sort of personality to wild Pokemon. I think it would make everything feel more organic. Even if it's just like 4 or 5 different characteristics that you can give to them.
speaking about Pokemon, let's get to it. We were introduced to Palmy, Smoliv, and Lechonk. And I cannot believe that stupid little pig has taken the internet by storm. And I love Lechonk. I do. I call him a stupid little pig, but it's because I love this look. It is so simple. It is so basic, but it works so well for this game. And Palmy being the little bear Pokemon with the little electric pads, as well as Smoliv, who looks like it's going to be the regional Budew triple evolution plant type mon. I love these designs. I know not everybody has favored them, but I absolutely love these three designs, and I'm getting very strong Gorochu vibes coming from Palmy, and I'm kind of hoping that beta comes back, because it does look like they've been trying to bring back some of the old beta designs.
I'm gonna have to agree there too. Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
But for me, I mean, I don't know, man. I love all three of these. I can't choose between any of them at the moment.
Specifically, I understand, like, you know, it's gonna be hard to choose between all three of them. But I mean, you're gonna be catching all three of them anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
Can I complete that Pokédex? But besides that, that little pig, he is really taking the Pokemon community by storm. Like, I'm actually surprised. Like, I first saw his name as Lechonk, and I was like, as
the resident pun guy.
Oh yes,
as a resident meme lord.
A resident meme lord, and also in terms of my own culture as well. Anybody who knows. I mean, you've all heard it. Lechon is like another word for like, you know, a little pig. In my culture, it's like, yes, that is what it is. It is also food, and that is a very great dish. So like, as soon as I'm catching it, I'm removing the K in that name, and that's gonna be its nickname for the entire game or whatever, you know. Small olive. Such good naming sense. Oh my god, Pokemon Company. Like, come on.
They definitely knew who their audience was, and they definitely catered to them.
I know, right? Like that, or there's some like some Gen Zers in the Pokemon Company or something. I mean, like,
I will take this. I will take this moment. I'm with Ace Trainer Liam on this one. Lechonk better evolve into Lechongus.
Oh my god, that meme! I saw that meme too.
That would be brilliant.
Please.
That literally break the internet.
Either that or Lechonkers.
Oh yeah. But I do have to say, Palmy though, when it first introduced, I think for me personally, Palmy is the most underwhelming. I think for me, like out of the three that were released, I don't know what it is. Like when I first looked at it, I was like, man, this can't be a new Pokemon. Like I wouldn't even think of it as a Pokemon. Like when I first saw it, but that's not to say like I hate it or anything. It's just that like out of the three, that's definitely at the bottom. But the other thing is like its color scheme, when you look at it, does seem like kind of gives me like Charizard vibes. So this was like the other thing that I was kind of complaining about. It was like, you know, they're not gonna, if they don't bring Charizard into this game at all, I'm still gonna think there's a Charizard in here just because of Palmy's color scheme. So it's like, you know.
If you look at Palmy's the little top knot of his hair, it almost looks like a flame. So imagine if he was a fire electric type.
If he evolves into fire electric type, I'd also be okay with that, honestly, too.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Do we even have a fire electric type?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I can't think of anything.
But yeah, no, I definitely think Palmy is the closest Pikachu clone we have to being Pikachu.
We do not have a fire electric type, so this might actually be the first of a kind.
If it does. Oh, imagine if it does evolve into a Gorochu like you're saying, and it does become a fire lightning type.
Dude, that would be a bit spicy.
That would be shocking. I see.
Yeah, but there was actually, so Birdkeeper Toby did sort of like a small theory headcanon video where he said Palmy, Lechonk and Smoliv all connected in some way. So he said Palmy looked a bit like a race team mascot. Lechonk, being hog Pokemon, could refer to not only pig but road hogs as in motorbikes. So maybe Lechonk's evolution could be like a ride Pokemon that helps it get around. And Smoliv, what are olives known for producing? olive oil. What is oil used for in like vehicles and that? Greases your engine and it helps run smoothly. So they all seem to have a very symbiotic relationship. So I think we could see a lot more of that as well. And I think on the website it says specifically for Lechonk that Lechonk exerts an odor that gives away bug type Pokemon. And what type is super effective against grass types, which Smoliv is? Bug type. I think we're going to see a lot more of those Pokemon. It's going to tie into like real life, how real life nature works, if that makes sense.
Well, that actually brings up something I wanted to touch base on with specifically with Smoliv. On it says oil so bitter and astringent it will make you flinch. There's an oil that comes out of its head that is very strong, bitter taste, and it's not suitable for consumption. When startled or attacked, Smoliv will shoot this oil out, slowing its opponent down. It will then seize the moment to run away. So it makes me think that this is going to have a move similar to Tarshot, whereas Tarshot made you more susceptible to fire attacks. This particular attack could cause a flinch and a slow effect, possibly.
Sounds like a broken move.
That could be pretty OP.
Well, it all depends because of the fact that it's of how it's like it could do one, maybe not both, but maybe one or the other. A defensive non-damaging flinch attack or chance to flinch, or just it's a slowdown because you're getting squirted with olive oil effectively, and olive oil is pretty slick. Which would kind of make sense that you're slowed down because you gotta move slower to make sure you don't fall. But there's still a lot to this game that we don't know, and there's definitely a lot of mechanics a lot of changes that we may not know about yet, because the last 3 games have been completely different and have been absolute game changers. So who's to say that they're going to stop there?
I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Also, another thing I want to touch on, the UI. Although I don't think it looks bad, I'm not overly impressed by it. I mean, Sword and Shield's looked quite good. Both BDSP and Legends Arceus's UIs looked, well, Battle UI specifically, looked very good. I'm a bit underwhelmed with Scarlet and Violet's Battle UI. It looks very plain.
Yeah, it does look very basic.
No EXP bar.
But there is one thing I want to point out. If you look at that sort of scene where you're in a battle with Lechonk, Lechonk's health bar isn't at the top right-hand corner where it usually is. It's sitting right above him.
I didn't catch that.
Neither.
So could we potentially see some horde battles? I think so.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing. I'd like to see the return of horde battles, personally.
And it's not like Pokemon stop themselves from letting you encounter a battle where there's more than like 2 Pokemon in it as well. Like, I mean, Legends of Arceus was definitely a good example with, those trainers like Adaman bringing out like their signature evolution with 2 other evolutions or an Eevee, and it's like, oh, so this is how it's gonna be, huh? 3v1.
Well, even in the wild attacks, if you are not careful in the wild, you can actually end up aggroing 3 or 4 wild Pokemon on you, and instead of battling the one, you may be battling one-on-one, but the other Pokemon are still on that screen as well, and they're still taking their turns against you. So horde battles are definitely almost on the table at this point. But then we're gonna get to the very end of this because we're almost at the end of the video to begin with. But there's 2 things I want to touch on. First off, the legendaries. I know there's a lot of people going back and forth on the legendaries, but there's a couple of things that strike me on these particular designs. Starting with the fact that if you look at the eyes of both of the legendary Pokemons, Miraidon has digital eyes. They're pixelated. And it's got the little lightning bolts coming out of it, and it looks really interesting as far as design-wise goes. It looks like it's got a Kevlar mouth, whereas Kuraidon looks like this very powerful, ancient-type warrior. And this leads me to believe that I've been saying that Fuecoco is the start of a new Zodiac, because a lot of people are flipping out trying to figure out where he goes. I think it's part of the Mayan zodiac at this point, because of the way crocodiles are depicted in that particular zodiac. Looking at Koraidon, I get a very Aztec Mayan type, more specifically Mayan warrior vibe with the way the head feathers come out. And I'm going to post a picture of just the similarities. There's too much of a strong connection for me to not want to pull this thought closer together. And the more I think about it, the more I see it. But what are you guys' thoughts on this particular Pokemon pair as far as the legendaries goes?
I think whatever that rumor was that we did a while back about the legendaries being either a basilisk or a cockatrice, I think that's what I'm looking at right here, honestly, because they do have the reptilian vibes. You know, they kind of look chicken-ish, depending how you look at it, especially Koraidon, if anything, with the head feathers and everything. I mean, granted, your definition of like a cockatrice and basilisk, like both being of similar origins, cockatrice is more chicken-like and a basilisk is more snake-like. So that's what I'm getting from here. You know, Koraidon would be the cockatrice here because he looks more chicken, and then Miraidon looks like a basilisk here because he looks more snake. So that rumor, I don't know who put that down there, but they seem pretty spot on that, at least they got it right in a sense. And I'm totally appreciating it because I love these two designs, honestly. I'm still more in favor towards Koraidon, but these designs are just amazing. As a dragon type lover as well, oh my god, so good. Love freaking lizard and dragon aesthetics and like almost anything, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, these designs they're phenomenal, honestly. 10 out of 10 for both of them. I can't choose which one I like more. My one worry is that because I really like the way Miraidon looks with the digital eyes, the carbon fiber mouth, I really hope that is kept in the game, because if they can't translate that over, it'll be a big loss in my opinion. The Pokemon will definitely be worse off, but I love the designs. They both look really cool. I do agree with you on that sort of like Aztec-y looking motif for Koraidon. But yeah, in my opinion, probably one of the best legendary pairs we've gotten thus far.
Just touching base real quick, it was the Quadaluna rumor that we had discussed where they had the basilisks in there. And it does kind of feel like they might have had some finger on a pulse, but to me, it's feeling more like your discount toys. You know how when you go looking for Power Rangers and you see Power Rangers and you know what you're getting, and then you go to a little side shop, mom and pop place, and they don't have Power Rangers, but they have Mega Fighters, and it's just recolored, cheaper made Power Rangers. Mm-hmm. That's what that rumor feels like when you compare it to what we saw on that trailer today, or last week. It feels like they were kind of in the know, but didn't quite get it right. So I'm still on the skeptical part of that rumor, but there's still a lot to see where we don't know exactly who had their finger on the pulse and who was just pulling stuff out of thin air. Because if you've noticed, a lot of the recent rumors, they're all circling each other, but are just slightly different.
It's that meme. You can copy my homework, just change it a little bit.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, like, final note on that last part of the trailer. I still want to believe that ending part of the trailer is also hinting at, like, the quote-unquote maybe, like, third legendary or the gimmick of the region. I don't know what it could be. I know there were speculations like, oh, people can kind of make out like a face in the crystal patterns or something like that. I want to say personally, I feel like I could almost see something like moving in there because it's just a bunch of lights, but I don't know, maybe like the lights could be like its eyes or something glowing and then it just being really obscured because of like the crystal like pattern it has. But whatever it is, I hope they reveal it like soon, or like regardless if it's like the next trailer or if they show it off in like later down the line. But I'm kind of I gotta say that's another thing that's like giving us some drip in there. It's like, oh man, I need more info. I need more info, Pokemon Company, please.
I don't know. To me, it just looks like a kaleidoscope in crystals, but I have a strong feeling that it's leading to an EV an evolution tie-in. That's kind of like a secret nod, but
Personally, I don't think it's a hint towards a new evolution, although I do really want one. I think it could be a hint possibly towards a sort of third legendary that acts kind of as an antagonistic Pokemon. But, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it could be very cool to get we call it like a diamond-based Pokemon. Because obviously diamonds are a very hard kind of rock, so it would be strong against, or fighting would be weak against it. And I know you get certain diamonds, I forget what they're called, that are actually used to, I don't know if it's heat or conduct electricity. So then the electric legendary would also be weak against it. But that's just a bit far-fetched at the moment, but not very thought out. But I think it could be quite cool.
If anything, it's just more of like wishful thinking and what I want to see next. It's just more like, I need the regional bird, I need the regional bug, I need the first regional form that's most likely going to show up in here, Tauros. I'm waiting. I think most importantly as well, like everybody's pointing this out, what is the name of this region, please? I wanted to know the name of this region as well, please.
Well, with that, everybody, thanks for joining us on this episode. What are your thoughts on this new trailer? Let us know. Leave us a comment down below. Also, please be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And once again, thank you so much for joining us on the ride. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.